Okay, so what we're going to do now is create a shapefile. Now, if you've never worked with a shapefile before, it's really just an outline or a polygon of a lithological unit, for example, or it could even be a point, a location, that all this information is contained in the shapefile, and you can then import it into a map to help you create a map. Or, for example, if you've got geophysical data like magnetic data, you could plot the outline of a lithological boundary on it, and you could then tell what rocks are very magnetic. So it's a very useful tool. And so how you go about that, you click over here on Catalog on the right hand side, and inside this window here is all the different folders. And so at the top here is the folder we loaded previously when we were loading data. And if you go inside of there, you can see there's a folder called shapefile. And so this was an existing folder that was there. If you right click on it and you go down to new and go down here to shapefile. So we're going to create a shapefile that's going to go into this folder. Okay, and so the name for the shapefile, you'll see in the PDF it says MSc 2019 Lithology. This is obviously from the previous course. Why don't we call it quartzite, QTE lithology? Because you'll see there might already be one of these. You can see here the shapefile already exists. So let's create a new one, quartzite QTE _ lithology. And you must go here and change point to polygon. So we are not going to do a single point, we are going to actually outline the whole of the quartzite unit. So click on polygon and click OK. And an unknown spatial reference, that's fine, click OK. Okay, my catalog's disappeared, but if I click on it again, you can see here is this new shapefile created here, but there's no information in it. And if you were following on the PDF, you'll see I actually missed a step, and that was defining the coordinate system of the shapefile. So how you can either follow what it says in the PDF, which follows on from what we were doing previously, or if you've closed the window we were just dealing in, then go to this QTE _ lithology shapefile, right click on it, and go down to properties. And then you'll see here, if you click on XY coordinate system, again we have to tell it what coordinate system are we working in. And if you remember from last time, you go to geographic, click on the plus, scroll down to world, and scroll down to WGS84. Here's the details, and you can click OK. And you would have noticed that here in this left-hand table of contents, you now see this QTE lithology. And so we're going to just right click on it here and go to open attribute table. So here you can have several different attributes or qualities that apply to this shapefile. It will make more sense as we go forward. And we now want to give it a name. And so how we're going to do that is we're going to click here and we're going to click on this down arrow and go further down to add field, and I want to, so this is literally going to give us a new heading here, and we're going to call this new heading unit _ code. And so we're going to give a code to this shapefile, and so literally the code is going to be the rock type. And so I need you to go here and change the type to text, so we can actually type in what the rock type is, so that anytime you see the shapefile and you can't remember what exactly it is, if you go into this attribute table, you'll see the code. We're going to use the letters QTE, and as soon as you see that, you're going to know, ah, this is a quartzite. Okay, so we've created the heading is going to be unit code. You could even call it, if you want to say rock type, make it text so that we can actually type. If it was stayed on short integer, we could only put numbers in. And we're going to click OK. Okay. And once we do that, you can see that this new heading comes up on the right hand side here. And so once we've created the shapefile, we are going to come back and actually fill in this code over here, so that, like I said, in future, if you're ever not sure what the shapefile represents, you can come back and check this unit code. Okay, so let's close this window. This step here you could also do later on once you've created your shapefile. So I'm just following the order in the PDF. So once I close it, if I go back here and I right click and I go down to properties, and these are different properties for the shapefile, and I make sure I'm clicked on symbology over here. It's really just the symbols used to represent the shapefile. You could go here and choose which color. You can see here under symbol, if you click on this purple, you can choose any color that you wanted. In the PDF, it's recommended that you click on the white one, which is hollow. Your choice if you want to use something else. So click OK, and click OK again. Okay, so really what we've done so far might not feel like much. All we've literally done is created this entry here in the table of content called QTE, which stands for quartzite lithology. We've defined the color. We've given it a heading to describe what type of rock type, even though we haven't yet put it in. So we haven't done too much yet. So now we're going to get back down to the nitty-gritty of actually digitizing it. So drawing a shape around this quartzite so that we can identify it. So now we need a toolbar to do this. We go to Customize, Toolbar, and go down to Editor, and you click on it. Mine was already on, and you can see it's this window over here if I pull it out. And this is to help us with the digitizing. Okay, but we are going to now right click on here, back on this in the table of content on the QTE lithology, go to Edit Feature, and go to Start Editing. So we're going to start editing this feature using this toolbar over here. So Start Editing. An additional step that's slightly confusing is that once you've gone here, you've gone right click, Edit Feature, Start Editing, come here to this table which should have appeared, this Create feature, and make sure your QTE lithology is selected. Make sure it's selected over here. And now we can digitize the polygon. So what you're going to do is click, click, click around it, and when you finish, you're going to right click and then click Finish Sketch. So like I've said already, this darker yellow is the quartzite. If this was your honors project or your master's project, you would zoom in and try to do this in a lot of detail. So what I'm currently using is the scroll button on my mouse, and it is zooming in. I don't have all the time in the world, so I'm not going to go into such detail. I'm going to zoom out and very quickly digitize it. But obviously, if you were doing this for a project, you would want it to be in more detail. And so you can see I'm clicking around this polygon. So get going. You can see I'm losing a lot of the detail because I'm doing it so quickly. Okay, and you keep clicking. Keep clicking. Okay, now I'm finished here, so I'm going to right click and I'm going to go to Finish Sketch. Okay, and I'm going to go up here to Editor and go Save Edits. So everything I've just clicked on here has been saved inside of this unit inside the table of contents. Okay, so on the next page on your PDF, we've actually got information inside of here, so we can now go define the rock type. So we're going to right click, again go to Open Attribute Table. So now it actually says we've got some information. It's a polygon, and this was the header we created. I'm going to type here QTE. So I now know what the heck this polygon over here represents, and you can see it's this blue line here. The black line has changed to blue. Okay, and then there's also a second quartzite over here. It's this one over here, and so I'm going to quickly do that now. And remember the procedure, we right click on this QTE lithology, we don't create a new one. We go Edit Feature, and you can see I've fallen for this trap. If you go Edit Feature, it's still in the editing mode. And so we just make sure it's selected here under Create Feature, and you can go and start digitizing the second polygon here. Again, I'm going to do it very roughly. Okay. It really depends how much of a perfectionist you are. But for the purpose of this exercise, really, we're just going to practice it roughly. should have gone across here. And I right click and I go finish sketch. And so you can see here this original black polygon has gone black again, and now this new one is blue. And we're going to go back to editor here and go save edit so we don't lose it. And if you go back to this QTE lithology, right click and go open attribute table, you can see we now have 2 polygons. And so this is this new one, and it also was QTE. And so this can show you how you don't actually have to make this just QTE lithology. So we've limited ourselves somewhat. It was my mistake. We should have stuck with what was originally in the PDF. This file, this unit in your table of contents, can be the general lithology of the area, and you can go add multiple polygons of all these different units. And the way that you differentiate them is by having a different unit code over here. And so let's, for example, quickly, I know it's not in the PDF, let's go do this yellow here, which is an ARCOS. So I'm going to just close this table. I'm going to, it's still in edit mode, you can double check, it's still selected here, and I'm going to quickly define this yellow over here very quickly to show you the benefit of this feature. You can see no one's ever going to hire me to make maps. Okay, and now I'm finished. I'm going to right click, finish sketch, go here, save edits, right click over here, open attribute table. We've got our third polygon. I'm now going to call this ARK for ARCOS. And so the benefit now, if I move this to the right, is that if I go click on this quartzite, let's highlight it, you can see it highlights the quartzite here. If I click on this one here, it highlights the central quartzite. If I click on the ARK, it highlights the ARCOS. And so this, I don't know what it's called, under table of contents. You can actually have all the different lithologies in your area, all different shapefiles in this one larger shapefile, and then come and just extract the ones that you want. So that said, let's go here and see if we can rename this. Let me see if I can figure it out. Okay, so we're going to double click on this here, on the QTE lithology, and let's just change this here to all lithology, so we know all the lithologies are saved under it. Okay, you can see it's saved here. So again, if you right click, go open attributes, all shapefiles for all the different lithologies in the area can be loaded underneath. Okay, let's close there, and let's click on editor and say stop editing, and let's save our edits. Yes.